contact is going to become the new currency. It's not going to be AI. It's not going to be the stuff that you can just throw into an email or throw into a text. It's going to be your connecting with them and talking to them,
Oh, I
which,
totally agree.
yeah.
I love AI to create the content to send to them, but the personal touch is it's mandatory. Hey everybody, it's Kathy Byrnes here with Real Estate Riches, and today we're joined with Andrea Gordon out of California. And so excited to have you. She's got some amazing tips here. Hi, girl.
Right. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm in Berkeley, California.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I love that. A great area too, boy.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right. Well, so Andrea is a distinguished real estate professional in the San Francisco Bay Area, known for her passion for authenticity in the real estate industry, a very important component. With years of experience, Andrea has seen firsthand the challenges of triumphs of real estate, giving her a unique perspective. As the host of Realization Podcast, which I'm excited to hear more, Andrea brings valuable insights and fresh ideas to her listeners, focusing on the people behind the profession and sharing strategies for success. And we were talking a little bit beforehand about how what prompted you to start that podcast and kind of give good understanding to the general public, it seems like,
Right.
about what really an agent does. So that was great. But first, let's talk a little bit about your background, your bio, solo agent, all that good stuff.
Sure, sure. I started real estate in 1998.
Wow.
So I've been around for 27 years.
Mm.
And actually, is it 28 now? I can't remember anyway. Anyway, I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And my background is in theater.
Mm.
I still write plays and direct, and I'm actually the director of and play development at the Magic Theater in San Francisco, which is the
Wow.
place Sam Shepard and a bunch of other really famous people got their starts. But I figured out a long time ago that with theater and $2.50, I still wouldn't be able to buy a cup of coffee. So I got into doing other things. And my first real day job, I worked in advertising. So I have a big background in marketing and advertising. And, while my friends were being bartenders and waiters at different restaurants, I decided I'd go into, advertising. And it really has helped me in my real estate career because I have an understanding about those things. I had a great job. I was the internal casting person for a great advertising agency. And I left that job to direct a production of Death of a Salesman in Los Angeles and Santa Barbara.
Wow.
And it was very, very funny because the man who ran the advertising agency that I worked for was a very famous guy named Hal Riney. And Hal sent me a letter. And when he read a bad review, he sent me a copy of my own bad review from the Santa Barbara production. And at the bottom, it said, "Ha ha, Hal," which, if you knew the man, was like very, very high praise for him to have bothered to do that. Was kind of amazing. He was the kind of guy, he did that Mornings in America advertisement that was so famous for, I believe it was might have been Ronald Reagan or something.
Oh,
Anyway, he was the kind of guy where he'd call you into his office and it would be like 8 o'clock in the morning and people were like sleeping in the advertising office because just like real estate, advertising never stops and everybody's
yeah.
very competitive and whatever. And you'd come into his office and he would already be smoking a cigar and drinking a shot glass of scotch at like 8:30 in the morning.
Drives you to drink, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so when they got the Saturn campaign, and I used to bring my little Bichon Frise Emmett into the office with me. I mean, it's like things that I would do that things you would do when you were young, you would never do today. Like it didn't even occur to me to not bring my dog to the office, okay? So I brought Emmett to the office with me every day, and of course he was fluffy and adorable and with this little white thing, and so everybody took turns playing with my dog all day long. In fact, at the end of the day, it was kind of hysterical. I would have to go find him someplace because he was being cuddled by somebody. Anyway, they named the dog in the Saturn commercials Emmett after my dog. So if you
Oh,
ever
that's
see that,
fun.
that's what that is. Anyway, So moving along, I produced a play that didn't do very, very well, and I had borrowed $60,000 from friends and relatives, including my
Yikes.
sister, a huge chunk from my sister. And I was mortified. And I thought, well, I have to get an actual job to do something about this because by that time I had already directed Death of a Salesman and left the advertising agency. And so I ended up getting my own corner office in another ad agency, but this time for high tech professionals. And I worked there for a year and just worked my tail off. And I ended up being able to pay back every single person who had loaned me money for that production. And the day that I figured out that I had enough to live on for a month and also had paid everybody back, I went into my boss's office and quit. And he was like, "Oh, I was frightened you were going to do that." And I said, "Yeah, I'm really, really sorry." And and I said, "Did you know that I didn't know what I was doing?" He said, "Yeah, but it didn't really matter. I could tell you were a great salesperson." And so I left there and then got a job selling wine because I thought it would be another way to make money. But unfortunately, when you sell wine to different hotels, you have to carry like 24 bottles of wine around with you everywhere.
Oh
And I don't
my.
know if you've ever been to San Francisco. There are a lot of hills in the area
Yeah.
where a lot of the hotels are. So I was getting so buff carrying all this stuff around with me. And and they would take pity on me and buy stuff from me. But all the wine merchants that at that point in time, and I'm probably now still, were old guys who'd been around forever. So I was like the new kid on the block, and they bought stuff from me out of charity, basically. But I
Nice.
did well at it. I actually managed to sell a bunch of German wine. And by the way, I don't drink. And so I was just being very theatrical and describing, the apricot or the this flavor and the this and that, and people bought it. So at that point, I thought, what else could I sell? And I love cars. Like I drive a Porsche to this day. And I went into a bunch of high-end car shops, and what I noticed were all the women were the receptionists and the back staff, but they weren't the salespeople. It was all men. And I thought, not a good idea to buck the trend here because probably nobody's going to want to buy anything from me because I'm not a guy. Then I went into a real estate office, and it was all women. And I thought, aha, I have found my place. I can make this work. And so I got a job, and it's much more complicated than that, but I got a job at an office in Daly City near where I lived. And my first month in the business, I made 6 sales.
Wow.
It's theater and real estate are analogous skill sets. In fact,
Ah,
I've written a book about it, and it'll be coming out this year
wonderful.
called Realizations, just like my podcast. But it's a book for real estate agents to figure out how to close, how to market, how to not go under, how to not financially damage themselves while they're trying to get ahead.
Oh, I
Um,
love this.
so yeah, I didn't look back after that. I was like, oh, cool, you can actually work and make money. It's amazing, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well, you've been very successful in your career too, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
What did,
very
what did I
blessed.
see in 23 and 24, top agent? So, and you're a solo agent.
And that solo is a misnomer. I don't have a team per se. What I do
Yeah.
have are employees. I have two assistants.
Okay.
I average $60 million in real estate sales annually, which
Wow.
which works out to about a house a week in our
Mhm.
area. And in 2021, just like everybody else, I sold $112 million of real estate in 2021. And
It's a good year.
it was the same number of units that I normally sell. It
Mm.
was just the price inflation.
Yeah.
So real estate comes in waves,
Yep.
and but on average I do about 60 million, and I have two they're assistants that work full time. I pay them through my commissions. They're both licensed, so they get a small referral fee.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a transaction coordinator because obviously the files need to be good.
Yep.
I have a marketing company called Agent Upgrade that does all my social media marketing and my newsletter and a few other things. And I also have a virtual assistant in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
So the infrastructure that I have works for me in particular. I think that teams work for other people. I've just never wanted to be like a mentor to a bunch of young agents. And also, I'm very competitive. So I like to be the number one. Like right now, I am the number one agent for Compass in Berkeley and Oakland, which is
Wow.
basically the Inner East Bay. And I like that. And if I were to take a team, unless I could find other agents that were as productive as me, my stats would go way, way, way down because honestly, baby agents don't produce as much as bigger agents.
Yeah.
And so, and my friends who've had large teams, what I've noticed them do is they end up being managers, not salespeople. And everybody's always coming after me, wanting me to be the manager of a real estate company. I can't tell you how many times I've been approached to do that. And I'm like, why would I do that? I would make a third of the money, if not less, than what I'm making now. It would be twice as many headaches because all you're doing at that point is dealing with problems, and you're having to mentor a bunch of people, which is not what I like to do. So for me, I like where I am in the business. It's not for everybody, but it works for me. I have a wonderful coach too, by the way.
Yeah. Good.
I work with Vonda Martin. I met her way back when I was coaching through the Tom Ferry organization.
Mm.
I had a different coach to begin with who was really, really good at helping me with accountability. And then Vonda has been really, really good at prodding me over the years. And she went out on her own. And so I just followed her. And she's phenomenal. She's a
Mm.
wonderful, wonderful coach.
So a couple of things I picked up there. First of all, I met this man. He came from KW. I'm with EXP. He came from KW, and he told me that he was basically a solo agent, but he did his business exactly like you.
Mhm.
He had one licensed agent that was basically salary, kind of like you're talking about, that showed all the properties. Another one was the office manager. They had different roles, and he was the one who got the clients and made the clients happy, but he would talk to them once a week. He didn't meet with them so much, but so he worked more on building the relationship and keeping that together. And he goes, I have a staff of
Mhm.
people that are going to handle all the pieces. I'm going to take care of you, is how he presented it. And
Right,
he did hundreds of millions, just like you're talking.
right,
And I thought I had never heard it done that way. And I think that's the uniqueness that you created, because there's different people doing it, but I don't think they're talking about it, kind of. And
right.
and what you bring to the table, I think, is a smarter business model. I had a team. I would never want to do that again. I had a
Right,
partner. We were great and we weren't great. Do you know what I mean?
right, right.
And we had an assistant who was a godsend, and I did all the marketing, and
Hmm.
she also dealt with all the people that were challenging, and she did
Hmm.
all the grunt work. So, but I wouldn't want to do a team again. When
Right.
we decided to go our separate ways, I became a solo agent. I had an assistant, and then I ended up joining a team, and I saw the insanity of the team owners of
Hmm.
what they had to do, because I was asked to be a mentor for a lot of these newbies who did
Right,
nothing and would leave the business quickly, and
right,
I wasted my
right.
energy while I'm still trying to do my sales.
And you know, it's basically thankless work unless you are
Yes.
really into that kind of work, which I am not. So you know, and I don't mind. I love getting up in front of whole very large groups of people and coaching a whole room
Hmm.
full of people.
Me
But the
too.
one day-to-day stuff, I don't really like that much, and so I just don't do it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's again, the hard part is that when you are a solo agent and you are the lead person and the only person, there's a little bit of isolation involved. There's a little
Hmm.
bit of feeling a little bit, especially since the pandemic, feeling like you are not connected with anything. But Compass does a really good job as far as the culture of our company is concerned. We
Good.
have weekly office meetings. And
Mm.
one thing I would say about your friend who has the team with him, I actually have 3 meetings a week with my staff. And we meet Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and we go through everything. We go through every single deal we have going, all the in prep listings, everything that's on the market, everything that's in contract, and we go through every detail so that everybody's on the same page.
Great.
And and my virtual assistant also notates everything that we talk about, and it's divvied
Hmm.
out to everybody in the weekly meeting minutes.
Hmm.
And we check off things as they come.
Sure, sure.
And there are a lot of programs that you can get that will, like
Trello.
All kinds of things, yeah, that can sort of keep these ideas in place.
Mhm.
I prefer having it come through the meeting because it feels much more organic, and it also, if things come up and you remember something, oh yeah, I talked to so and so about blah 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 blah. If you're just looking at it on Asana or something like that, it doesn't come up the same way.
Mhm.
So I think that it's really useful for realtors to not get sucked into all the things that you can buy that are tools,
Yeah.
to actually communicate and be human. I also, by the way, have a 15-minute meeting with every single one of my sellers weekly,
Oh, that's
just to tell
great.
them everything that's going on, because communication is absolutely everything.
Critical.
Staying on top of communicating with your folks. The thing people get mad at you about are not the things you think they're going to get mad at you about. They get mad at you most about you not communicating
Yep.
enough. Like, even if nothing's going on in your deal or nothing's going on in a listing, because we've all been putting listings on the market lately that haven't sold or what have you. Communication is the most important part of it. If you have a listing that's going sour and it's staying on the market for a really, really long time, and you don't communicate with your sellers at least weekly,
Yeah.
just going to think you've forgotten about them. So that's the big key. And also really listening to your sellers, really hearing what they have to say. I have had sellers who said, I won't take anything less than 2.5 million. And I've gotten them into contract at 1.7. The reason that's happened is because what people say and what they're really saying sometimes are two different things. So being aware
Really.
and having a peripheral awareness of everything around you that's going on is key.
It is. I remember back in 8, 9, 10, when
Mhm.
their listings would stay on, you might even be the third listing agent, right?
Mhm.
And so we decided that we were going to do a weekly email that was going to go out, and it was going to have the whole analysis of what was going on in the market, how long theirs had been on, all the hits on the different platforms we had, their properties, so that they could have physical evidence of what was going on.
Right.
And I would spend all day Monday going over that to evaluate all that stuff, and they would go out to our listings. And
Mhm.
but you're right, the phone calls are absolutely as essential because now they
Human
got that human
connection.
touch. Did you get that email? Let's go over that. Let's talk about that. And
With AI, it's going to become even more important to have as much human contact as you possibly can.
yeah.
Human contact is going to become the new currency. It's not going to be AI. It's not going to be the stuff that you can just throw into an email or throw into a text. It's going to be your connecting with them and talking to them,
Oh, I
which,
totally agree.
yeah,
I love AI to create the content to send to them, but the personal touch is it's mandatory.
yeah, absolutely.
It's mandatory. Are you doing much with AI in your business?
You know, uh, Compass has a bunch of different ways of dealing with AI. For example, they have something called likely to sells, and they comb through all of your contacts and your everybody. And it's really fascinating because they'll be like, likely to sell. And I'll see somebody in there that I sold a house to a year ago, and I'll be like, maybe it's time to check in with them. So I'll check in with them, and it'll turn out, yeah, they're thinking about moving to Minneapolis or something,
Hmm.
and it's uncanny. So I stay on top of that stuff. Compass has prompts for, your social media and stuff like that. I am a writer. I write a lot. I write two columns. The real estate columns for two magazines, by the
Oh,
way.
wow.
Berkeley Hills Living and Montclair Living.
Hmm.
And so writing, and I was a writing major and playwright. I'm a playwright, so I love writing. So I write all my own stuff. But Compass actually has AI that will literally write all of your property descriptions for you if you want it to. But you have to be
Um,
careful. You have to be careful because AI sometimes, I'm in graduate school right now. I'm getting my PhD.
nice.
I'm in my second year, and there was one class, and I'm a 90-hour a week real estate person. I'm a lunatic to be doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. I'll have my PhD by the time I'm 80. But point being, I had an assignment to do an annotated bibliography, and it was due like in 2 days, and I was so behind, and I was busy with real estate. You know how real estate
Yeah.
is, it sucks you in. So I asked AI to do my annotated bibliography for me. I confess, I did. So then I got the bibliography and went, wow, this is incredible. It's perfect. Everything is exactly what I need it to be for this idea to come forth. So I started looking up the books that were on the annotated bibliography. None of them existed. It made it all up out of whole cloth. So I asked AI, because I got pissed off. I asked AI, why did you do this? And it said to me, I wanted to please you. So you got to be real careful with AI. You can
Oh,
trust it
I
only.
teach it. I teach it. So
Yeah.
that is called hallucinating. So
Yeah.
it just grabs it, and it is ChatGPT was designed to make you happy. So
Yeah.
and so it will just grab from anything. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
it did something. I said, I know this is wrong. Where did you get this? And it said these blogs, and I go, well, that was an important lesson for me to learn. I said, so from now on, from that point on, I did sources where I either gave it the source, uploaded the information. So that's
Exactly.
exactly right. You do have to be careful.
Oh yeah. And by the way, I did finally I was a week late with my assignment and I got points knocked off, but I actually read the books and put my own annotated bibliography together. Just want to tell you that.
That's fine. I know it's hard for writers because you're thinking it only they only do a certain amount of things. It really opens up your creativity when you
Hmm.
start working with it. Like I was just in a Zoom right before we got on, and it was an hour-long Zoom on how to create 3 to 4 second videos
Hmm.
that would go viral, and it's the copy that you lay over the video that they're reading, and they're watching the video over it. It's playing over and over, but they're getting the content that you wrote for something that you're trying to promote. So for me, I look for agents all over the country who have high net worth clients who want to purchase in other countries.
Right.
So,
Very cool.
and I connect them with those agents. And I also look for agents who might be interested in coming to EXP. And so I have a dual mission. In doing so, I'm able to utilize AI from a marketing perspective. So I think
Yes.
that your
Yes.
marketing background in combination with AI creativity, not necessarily the writing part of it, because you can do the writing, I can't. And but you could do the creativity of the imagination of how to do the marketing pieces.
I love AI. I mean, in my work at in my graduate school, it's absolutely phenomenal for research stuff.
Oh
And
yeah.
I use it a lot. Or for example, there's a company called Prezi for PowerPoint presentations, and anybody can use them, and it's marvelous.
Hmm.
It is it will put something together that looks completely professional without you really having to do anything. And
Right.
so it could be utilized in real estate, could be used in business, could be used in my work as a grad student. It's great stuff. I actually love that all of that stuff. And I'm not concerned that AI is going to take over the world just yet because it still has a fair amount to learn. But I do think at the end of the day, we're going to have to find ways to make our humanity the most important part of who we are and how we do our business.
Oh, I agree.
So,
I agree. One last thing I wanted to touch on. I marveled at your website. Did you create it because of your own creativity with your wordsmith process? What did you do here? Because you're gonna have to go to our website, which I will have that link below, because it was really well put together. And you had a flip book at the end. And the
mhm.
flip book was so intense. Now, you didn't do that. Somebody did that for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Compass has an amazing marketing department. My website is through a company called Luxury Presence.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very actively in my website is actually the end result of many iterations of websites. You know, remember, I've
Mm-hmm.
been doing this for 27 years. My first website was fairly clunky. It's been getting refined and more sophisticated as time's gone by. I've been told by people that my website is as good as many brokerages' websites.
Oh, yes.
So what I do on there is I try to make sure that the information that I put on there on a regular basis is key. I do, I have a blog, I,
Yes.
and that blog is made up of my articles that I put into the magazines for the most
Mm-hmm.
part.
Mm-hmm.
I have different sorts of information that I want to put on there, and my website is designed, and all of the luxury presents, and I'm sure other companies do this too, you can format it so that you have whatever pages you want. And I just put it together. I've always used incredible photographers. So my photography on my site is absolutely gorgeous.
It
You have
is.
to spend a lot of money to make money. I mean, that's the thing that people forget all
He
the time. Yeah,
Keep,
they forget that. And I have a lot of stuff that I do on a regular basis. I know it's old school, but I do have Luxury Home Magazine, which is a magazine that goes
mhm,
out, and I do a two-page spread every time an issue goes out, and it's gorgeous. And I do get a
pricey.
lot of attention from that. It also has an online component. All of the things that I do that are print have online components, and I
Hmm.
work with them to make sure that my stuff is relevant and pretty.
Yep,
I worked with my marketing department to come up with branding that's specific to me. I created a Venn diagram to figure out who my best fit customer was
smart.
and how that functioned. And basically, my best fit customer is like a 40 plus year old hippie who's left leaning and educated and works and makes tons of money. That's my client. Okay. So I gear my stuff towards that. I've always done that. Like if I had a house that was listed next to the Chinese American school, I'll try and get a list of the parents and teachers that work at that school and I'll mail directly
Smart,
to. Or if
smart.
I have a very architecturally significant property, I will like have a party and invite the entire Architectural Heritage Association to come. I
Wow.
I do stuff like that.
Unique, unique.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You figure out ways to make your particular personal mark on what it is you do. You also, as far as your advertising is concerned, I have little interest in sports. I am not a sporty person. So I'm not going to advertise for Little League Baseball or something like that. Where I advertise is in the program for Berkeley Repertory Theater. I advertise in the program for the Berkeley Symphony. I advertise with the Oakland Ballet. I advertise with, different arts organizations because that's who my people are.
That's who your avatar is. Yeah.
Exactly. And I have a big cause. Most realtors, as you know, give back to the community.
Hmm.
My big cause is Berkeley Humane Society.
Mm.
So I'm extremely involved in helping them, like extremely involved. Like I sublet my at the pandemic, nobody wanted to come into the office for work, and I had a 1,000 square foot office just for me and my staff. And so I sublet my office to the Berkeley Humane Society at a great discount. A few years ago, I raised $450,000 for them.
Wow.
I feed the animals in the shelter 5 months out of the year. Now
Wow.
I can afford to do this because I don't have kids. I just
Hmm.
have pets and my husband. But for me, that giving back to them is the most important thing in the whole world. I fund a scholarship at Berkeley Repertory Theater as well. So
Wow.
so all of those things that I do out in the community are things that make me happy, and they actually increase my business because a lot of people know that I do this stuff and they want to support me because they love how I support other people.
That's exactly right. You are known, you're putting yourself out there, you're building relationships. You're not just trying to pitch people. They know your character. They want to do business with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I
Well,
love that.
you're absolutely delightful, and I know you have another appointment to get to, so but thank you for having me on your show. I really, really appreciate what you are doing, and it's
Yeah.
nice to have a new friend in North Carolina.
Yes.
If you ever have anybody from my area, please send them my way and vice versa. If anybody in your audience wants to find me, my website is www.andreagordon.com. My email is andrea@andreagordon.com, and my handles on all social media are Andrea Gordon Real Estate.
And
Please,
I will have all those links down there below so too, so you'll be able to have that in case you didn't get it. And please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, love to have you do that as well. And thanks everyone for joining us on Real Estate Riches. And thank you, Andrea. It's been a pleasure.
thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Real Estate Riches with me, Kathy Byrnes. If you'd like to explore potential partnership with me at eXp Realty, then let's book a strategy call and see how it would look in your eyes. And if you're thinking, man, I'd like to have a conversation with Kathy Byrnes, maybe I'd like to be part of this eXp company and see what it's all about. That sounds good to me. Let's book a strategy call and let's have a talk. No pressure, but man, it's worth a conversation. The link's in the description.